Hello and welcome to my video all about how to make some very easy cardboard art. I chose the motivational message, get it done, because I'm a terrible procrastinator, but you can of course choose any message you like. You will need the following items. Cardboard, the type of cardboard that you find in boxes and packaging. Some paint. I used an array of acrylic paints, but really any paint will do. You will also need some scissors, a craft knife and cutting mat, a marker pen, a piece of paper, a ruler, a short piece of thread or string, some superglue, some tape and some paintbrushes. You might also want to use a computer and a printer. Okay, so the first step is to cut out a piece of cardboard that's the size you want your finished art to be. Mine was 18 by 26 centimeters. Make sure the corners are 90 degrees. Then paint the front of the cardboard white. I would definitely recommend having a background of either white or black because these colours make other paint colours stand out more. You then need to gather all of the different paints that you have. I basically used all of the acrylic paints I had in my house, which happened to be gold, silver, white, shades of blue and shades of pink. Make sure to try and use colours that complement each other. Once the white background had dried, I added some random brushstrokes in blue and pink. Try to use different paintbrushes for different colours and try to paint over a different colour as little as possible. The main aim here is to not mix the paints. You'll know when you've started to mix the paints because you'll create a kind of dark brown, muddy colour. Therefore, I've got to try my best to keep the colours separate. Some areas did start to mix towards the end, but I mostly avoided it. Once I'd done a layer of brush strokes, I left it to dry before doing the next layer. I then added the metallic paints in the gaps that were left, and then more white on top to give it some highlights, which stop it looking too flat and boring. Then leave it to dry. Next, we need to create the stencil for the text. There are two different ways to do this. The first is you can draw the message out by hand onto a piece of paper, or you can use a computer to type out your message and edit it, then print it out. Make sure you print the text out in the actual size that you want. Once you have the message on paper, place the paper on a cutting mat and carefully use your craft knife to cut out all of the letters. Note that the simpler the font, the easier it is to cut out, so I would recommend a sans serif font. Basically a font without those curly bits. Place this stencil over the top of your painted cardboard so that the words are positioned how you want them to be on the final piece. Then use a marker pen to transfer an outline of the message onto the paint. Make sure you keep the paper still when you do this. The next step is to reveal the inside of the corrugated cardboard. So take your craft knife again and carefully cut around the marker pen outline. Make sure you cut through the top layer of cardboard only. Once you've cut around a letter, pull the top layer of cardboard away to reveal the wavy layer underneath. Repeat this for all the letters. I think that doing this adds an extra layer of texture and depth, which makes the art a bit more interesting. Note that if you manage to preserve the painted letters that you've cut out, you could create a second piece of art using these letters. I thought the look of them was actually quite cool, a bit like graffiti fabric. Next, I used the paper stencil once more to cut out all of the letters from some more cardboard. This time I used scissors to cut them out. You then want to paint these letters in a contrasting colour to the background. In my case, I chose white. Once this paint is dry, glue the letters onto the cardboard. My idea was to have the corrugated cardboard sections representing the shadows of the letters, so I placed each letter a little to the bottom right of the corrugated letters. And the last step is to add the support to the back of the art. If you'd prefer to add a frame instead, then feel free to do so. To make the support, I cut out a narrow and slightly triangular section of cardboard that was just over half the height of the main cardboard piece. I then carefully scored across the top of this piece, about 1.5 centimeters from the top, to allow it to bend easily along this line. To attach this support, I then glued and taped the 1.5 centimeter section to the back of the art, making sure that the bottom edges of both cardboard pieces lined up. To stop the support from bending too far back, I taped a short section of thread between the card pieces. And that's it, your colourful cardboard poster is complete. I really hope you enjoyed this project, and thank you very much for watching.